Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching Oni, Thunder God's Tale. Now, this 3D slash stop motion series, created by Daisuke Susumi and written by Mario Okada, certainly does have a lot of Japanese folklore to interest people who are interested in that sort of thing. But its story of the kami trying to defend their village from the evil Oni has a bit of a twist in its tale, and I wouldn't dare ruin it for you. But let's just say it's a twist that happens to actually make this tale feel a lot more like a Pixar movie than a typical Netflix series. But considering that Daisuke Susumi is a former art director from Pixar, that makes a lot of sense. Let's get to the story, shall we? The story follows Onari, a young girl who lives in a village full of Japanese yokai, who are trying to defend their village from the evil Oni, who are set to invade their village when a red demon moon rises. In order to defend the village, each one of the kami has to demonstrate their power, or kushi, to their teacher, Tengu, played by George Takei. Unfortunately, Onari doesn't seem to really have a kushi power yet, and her father Naridan, who I believe is played by Craig Robinson, seems to spend most of his time just sort of playing around in the forest and messing with the creatures, and that's that, when it comes, rather than actually training his daughter how to use her kushi powers. And when his power as a thunder god is noticed by his brother, Naridan realizes that perhaps this Oni situation isn't all as one note as the people of the village think it is, especially considering how Onari is perhaps not as much of a daughter figure as she might seem. But that's all I'll get to the story. Even though the story is only told through 4 episodes, it feels like each one is paced out properly and each one has enough story to get us to care for these characters. You could say it's similar to Lost Ollie in that respect. On top of that, the 3D animation mixed with stop motion is actually surprisingly stunning, even if it does feel like there are a few frames skipped every now and then. You don't usually see stop motion done that much in animated shows anymore, so the fact that it's used here and for these Japanese myths is actually quite interesting. And it makes it one of the more visually inventive series that I've seen from Netflix recently. On top of that, I do appreciate that the series goes for themes of nonviolence and themes of peace among different kinds of people when it comes down to its story. It works well for its folklore type of deal. It actually happens to work with a different kind of climax that doesn't involve violent conflicts. And it actually happens to mix things in by comparing the Oni myths to that of Gaijin in Japan, or, non-Japanese people. It actually does make sense when it comes to a lot of those myths and when it comes to where the Oni got their inspiration from. And I like the comparison that goes for in that respect. Granted, it does feel like it takes a while for the series to really get going with its themes. The first episode in particular, I felt, did take its time a little bit, and some of its characters outside of the main ones can feel a little one note. But at the same time, the story isn't really about them. The story is about Onari, Noridan, and eventually the reveal of who the Oni actually are and how that matters in the story. And at that respect, I think it works very well. And I'd like to see more of what Daisuke and Mario Okada can do, if they ever get to work together again. That's why I'm going to give Oni, A Thunder God's Tale an 8.5 out of 10. See you next time.